Lego Star Trek. We've waited a long time for this. Damn straight. Like 4 decades.
And it's finally here.
So let's not waste any time chatting and get on with it. Okay, well, first of all, I have to say the print on the box is nice and all, but the box itself feels pretty cheap. I mean, having built a fair number of Lumibrix sets, you really appreciate the rich, thick cardboard they use and how the lid opens to reveal the content inside. That feels premium. This does not. What's interesting though is that there's only 30 bags in there, numbered 1 to 30.
And no plastic bags that'll end up in the landfill either. Thick paper bags you can easily recycle.
If only they put that level of attention for the box itself. So, 30 paper bags, with 1 plastic bag for subtecting parts, 2 loose flexible hoses, 1 instruction book, and another, and the dreaded sticker sheet.
Oh, there aren't that many.
Listen, for a premium product, there shouldn't be any. Look at Lumibrix again. Way cheaper, practically the same quality with tons of decorations on the bricks and tiles, but all of them prints.
The richest toy company in the world can't do what its tiny competition can? Shameful.
This is going to be an ongoing discussion, isn't it? So we better get on with the build. So, Bag 1 builds the display stand for the minifig and gives us our first figure, Beverly Crusher, complete with a printed tile representing a medical tricorder.
Surprised it wasn't Captain Picard. Well, I'm very happy Lego realized the importance of the medical staff myself.
She has 2 facial expressions, one caring with a faint smile, and the other with a beaming one. Is that the one she has when she's with her grandmother's candle? She doesn't come with that, McClock. You sure about that? Moving swiftly on, we also get to apply our first sticker. Yeah, for the display stand. Why couldn't that be a print? Do you know how hard it is to apply these things straight? Especially when they're big like this one is? And it's not like you can easily remove them and try again. We know it's bad, McClock. Bad? It's shameful. And I'll keep saying it as long as Lego keep doing it. You do that. I will. And in addition to the stand, we get to start on the Starship Enterprise herself.
It doesn't look like much.
I'm sure it'll make sense in time. Now, as we build Bag 2, I'm reminded of complaints I've seen online that people are disgruntled that Lego use a wide array of colors.
Why is that a problem?
They want a grey ship to be all grey, inside and out. Now, I don't have a problem with colors as long as we don't get to see them by the end. But let me tell you, this Enterprise build is pretty intricate. And if all internal pieces were grey, it would be a nightmare to figure out which tiny part went where with each step. And to find the right part in the pile of bricks we need for each step. I'm a tad puzzled about some piece choices, mind. Why put 2 1x1 tiles next to each other when a single 1x2 tile would have done just as well? The cynic in me says that this is one way to inflate the piece count. Is there anyone other than a cynic in you, McClock?
So, having added all the pieces from Bag 2, it still doesn't look like much of anything.
I guess that curved part is the neck of the StarDrive, but other than that, it's a mishmash of jumbled colors. Just think of it as a giant 3D puzzle. It'll make sense in time. Now, with Bag 3, we've created a whole new structure that is attached to the side of the first one. Okay, well, I'm changing my mind about the curved part. I think that's the start of one of the nacelles, while the new structure is the bulk of the StarDrive's neck. We get to apply our second sticker, and you can see the veritable smorgasbord of colors that make up the inside. From every side! No wonder some people were annoyed. If they were looking to buy this set to get a bunch of grey pieces for their mugs, yes, they would be. But that's not the purpose of this set.
That's right. The purpose is to have an enjoyable building experience.
Well, they might as well try their luck with the inferior franchise that is Star Wars. There's tons of grey ships already there. Moving on to Bag 4, we get a new character, which happens to be the most unpopular one in the show. Alexander? No, Alexander isn't part of this set, McClock. And what a wise decision that was. It's Wesley, Beverly's son. The do-gooder know-it-all who kept saving the ship. That didn't happen as often as you think. In any case, this figure's notable feature is that he sports the rainbow jumper he used to wear in Season 1. Fun fact, he wore this because he wasn't an officer, so he couldn't wear a uniform. But because he was essentially a blank slate, he had a stripe for each of the 3 uniform colors instead.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
You won't get that kind of knowledge from Lego influencers who know nothing about the franchise they're reviewing. Bitter, McClock? Just stating facts, Mouse. And speaking of, his mom has the uniform that appeared from season 3 onwards. Bit of an inconsistent jumble of outfits, if you ask me. I think LEGO decided to represent the most iconic clothes. I mean, the rainbow jumper is much better than that monochrome drabness he wore later on. And he also comes with the repulsor beam he invented that saved the ship in the Naked Now. See? He was saving the ship so often they made a point to showcase it here. He also has two expressions, one with a simple smile, and the other looks like he's about to get into serious trouble. Shut up, Wesley! As for the build itself, well, it's getting more complex, that's for sure.
And curvy.
But I'm at a loss to figure out which part is which. It doesn't really make much sense. Maybe we're looking at it from the wrong angle. Maybe, but that's the angle we're instructed to building it as. I'm sure it'll make sense later. And it's like we're going back to the start with Bag 5, as we're building what looks like the same structure we assembled with Bag 1.
That's weird.
Now I'm ever more confused. I'm sure it'll make sense in time, yes we know. But confusion aside, I'm telling you the designer did an impressive job. I mean, usually a structure this complex would be riddled with Technic parts to strengthen it, but here, all we've used so far are regular LEGO parts.
That's impressive indeed.
So, what are we doing with these two sections? There's no obvious way for them to connect. Guess we'll have to carry on and see what the next bag brings. Bag 6 carries on building the other part of the ship, which keeps looking exactly like the other section, and I'm struggling to discern its shape. It doesn't make any sense to me. I see, we've added our third sticker, which looks similar to the one for the other side, only slightly wider. That sticker rings a bell, though.
But if we put the two parts side by side, Captain, it really doesn't look like the Enterprise.
Did we get the wrong plans from the Utopia Peninsula shipyards? This is just weird. I got it! I knew I recognized that sticker. It represents a secondary shuttle bay located at the top of the StarDrive section's deck. There was one on either side of it, hence two stickers. So, if we turn the two parts around and put them close to each other, the model makes sense.
Oh, now I recognize its distinctive shape.
Well, that's one interesting way to build a ship. I've never experienced anything like this before. That, and the lack of technical parts for the structure makes this a truly unique model.
I wonder how we'll get to connect the two parts together.
Ask and you shall receive, GG. Bag 7 brings the second section on par with the first, and it's time to connect them. And look, it's got 3 colored cross-axle lengths at the base and a couple of beam modules with 3 balls, one at the bottom of the neck and the other at the top. And connecting the two parts together was actually much easier than I thought it would be. The cross-axles slide into the 1x1 bricks with the cross-axle hole in them, while those triple tow bar balls just smoothly connect to a plate with a tow ball socket.
Impressive that it's already pretty sturdy just like that.
My guess, Bag 8 will strengthen all of this further. In the meantime, even though it's obviously not complete, there's no denying the StarDrive section finally looks as it should. I'm afraid, Mouse, you were incorrect. How so? Bag 8 wasn't there to strengthen the connection between the two parts of the StarDrive section, but to work on the underside. Now, the current underside is a mishmash of colors, which, as we've said, were there to make it easier to build the ship, but as this is no longer necessary.
And the Enterprise herself isn't a mishmash of colors from the outside.
Multiple sections are built and are connected to the underside to give the ship its iconic curved shape, as well as permanently conceal the offending shades. I like that this build is going in all directions, minimizing to a huge extent those unsightly anti-studs. What surprises me, though, is that none of those parts were used to tighten the two sections together. I mean, it could easily have been done right down the middle, but instead, they were built as if the two sections were still unconnected. Maybe there was a revision in the build order at a late stage of the design process, and some steps were swapped over. If it's an issue, I'm sure it'll be easy to source some larger tiles and swap them for those down the middle. That might not be entirely necessary, McLock, as Bag 9 focuses on the dorsal section of the StarDrive, and some of those parts cross the divide between the two sections.
Hopefully, it'll be good enough.
And there's a little Easter egg there for us to enjoy. It's possible to eject the warp core, but as this is LEGO, this Enterprise isn't powered by a matter-antimatter reactor, but by Octan.
Oh, LEGO and their sense of humor.
And this is also the bag where the main deflector dish is installed. It's made up of 2 printed windshields installed upside down. I've heard many people complain that it doesn't look like it does in the show. People will complain, sometimes about anything. I bet some will even complain this Enterprise is powered by octan. Ha! True that. The thing is, yes, it looks different. The actual ship doesn't have those light streaks shooting around the edges, but I personally don't mind it. It gives it a sense of power and movement the TV show version never really needed, as it was almost always moving across the screen. In addition to all of that, we've got our 3rd crew member, the dependable Commander Riker, in his red command uniform, coupled with his trombone. He also sports 2 expressions, a serious one and a smiling one.
Oh, could he hold the trombone?
Oh, absolutely. This brick-built music instrument is ideal for an amateur musician who could never hit that high note. Now, backs 10 and 11 are used to create a display stand. Still disappointed they couldn't make a stand in the shape of a Starfleet arrowhead. That would indeed have been cool. Instead, this is a Technic-heavy construct. Anyone else find it weird that those long Technic parts were kept in a separate plastic bag, but those deflected dish pieces, made up of 2 large transparent windshields, were just thrown into Bag 9 with 0 protection?
They took more care of large Technic bricks than they did delicate decorations.
It's nuts, actually. Some decisions are indeed baffling. Now, attaching the StarDrive section to the stand is easy. Its underside has 2 large grooves, which are perfectly designed to slot effortlessly onto the stand's 2 long protruding Technic prongs, leading to something that'll look great once it's done. But we still have a fair way to go. I think it already looks pretty good. Back 12 brings us my favorite crew member.
The chief engineer?
Well, who else is more important on a ship? Well... Seriously, Captain, who else? You may say engage, but without an engineer, you wouldn't go very far at all now, would you? Geordi LaForge is the first one to sport a gold uniform. He's got his visor, has a neutral face on one side, and LeVar Burton's inimitable smile on the other. Oh, and he also carries an engineering case. Now, backs 12 to 15 are all part of the process of creating both warp cells. And as such, there's going to be a bunch of doubling up regarding the buildings since they're both exactly the same.
This is also where a whole bunch of stickers are being used.
There's always a major issue with stickers. The colors of the main body of the sticker never match the color of the brick they're applied to.
That's kinda disappointing.
It's like the company's motto, only the best is good enough, is but a distant memory. Would it really have cost that much to provide prints for all these parts for the richest toy company in the world? Them saving money in that way is likely how they increase their wealth. Aye, good for the bottom line, no doubt, but not for their customers. This is a premium model. You shouldn't use stickers on a premium model. You'll get no argument from me. Now, Bag 13 is used to build the internal structure of the nacelles. That build ended up being pretty flimsy, but I guess it was trying to replicate how a warp nacelle looks like on the inside, only Lego style. It's fun to see it all in microscale, of course, but it's essentially a stack of 1x1 bricks put end to end, and that's always a tricky thing to do. First, it's not very stable when you're building it, and second, it's hard to keep all the parts flush and straight. Actually, worse still, once that entire section is enclosed, you'll never see all the hard work you've done. Still, you'll know, in your heart. Aye, for sure. And having built the internal structure and secured it to the top part of the nacelle, Bag 14 takes care of the underside.
It's almost identical to the top side, aside from a lack of stickers. And once you connect it to the other sections, it really looks like the Enterprise's nacelles.
And finally, Bag 15 completes them with the addition of Bussard collectors at the front. Although you'll notice that in the LEGO universe, those collectors are also powered by octan, with their unmistakable tricolors shown in the center of the construct. They slide in thanks to their long cross-axle and are secured perfectly. With that done, it's simply a question of attaching them to the rest of the ship. Just like the underside of the ship, which has these grooves that slot into the display stand, these nacelles have a groove that attaches to those clips at the top of the pylons.
That's why the internal structure of the nacelles included those long yellow bars.
Exactly right, Gigi. Attaching the nacelles is a simple matter of sliding them in until you hear a satisfying click. For both of them. And that concludes Book 1 of the instructions. That's right. The StarDrive section is finally complete, and I must say, it looks impressive.
Looks like those warp nacelles are way too overpowered for a ship that small.
Well, that's kind of the point. When the ship has to go into battle, having detached the saucer section where civilians and non-essential personnel can stay behind in relative safety, the StarDrive packs one hell of a punch. So, with that part of the ship done, our next task is to focus on the saucer section. Building the StarDrive section was a big task. Aye, the fact you built the structure on its side, as it were, and then combined the two sides together was highly original. Well, here's hoping that kind of originality continues with the saucer section. Considering I got it all wrong with the StarDrive section... Don't sell yourself short, McClock. You did end up figuring out what was going on with the construction before any of us did. Well, I'm gonna play it safe this time nonetheless. After all, the start is already confusing. It's not even obvious which is the top side and which is the underside.
That's right. We've got studs on pretty much every side, which is not something you see every day.
Come on, Gigi, it's nothing new. It's known as studs on the side construction.
Yes, I know, but that's usually for small sections of a build. Here it seems to be an integral part of the design throughout.
And again, I know the distinct lack of Technic bricks. This is all regular brick and plate work. I must say, I've got no idea what to expect. We've got an ingot piece here, for instance. Why is it there? Although it's good that we have different colored bricks to represent different types of connections. The white and red ones have studs on both sides, for instance, while the tan and blue ones only have studs on a single side. Makes it so much easier to find the right ones you're after from a pile of available bricks when you're following the instructions.
Oh, you don't organize your bricks by type and color before building?
Why should we, Gigi? That's a bit of a waste of time if you ask me. Plus, sorting just isn't needed when the designers thought of that and provided specific bricks in different colors. I wonder what those red 1x1 round plates are all about. They're all over the build. Hopefully this will all be revealed soon enough. Although if back 17's anything to go by, it won't be that soon. Well, the build is progressing, obviously, but it's interesting how instead of a tiled surface, the designer uses bricks on their side to achieve a similar effect.
I remember an interview with him where he said that bricks on their side led to a much stronger build, so he must have taken that to heart.
We've also got plates placed along the rest of the length of that construct, with some extending out. And we still have no clue as to where this section will end up. One possibility? We could be building it upside down right now, and that smooth surface at one end could be the contact point for the top of the neck of the StarDrive section.
Ooh, I like that theory.
And Bag 18 shows us that your theory was correct, Captain. Just a sec, Mouse. First, it's important to note that having studs everywhere means the build can happen in any orientation at any time.
A lot of progress has been made here for sure.
In order to achieve it, a lot of small side builds are assembled, riddled with many weird shapes and colors, and then connected to the larger build when done. I'm still impressed. No Technic parts are being used for rigidity. We know, McClock. You've said it quite a few times already. I know! And I keep saying it because I still can't believe it. Well, it's good engineering and good design. Here, let's take a closer look at what will end up being the main shuttle bay. That hole leading to a brick with a cross-axle hole in it, that's what will be used to secure the saucer section to the StarDrive section.
Only that? Will that work exactly?
Well, that's another thing I find hard to believe, and I can't wait to test it out when it's complete.
You and me both, Commander.
Now, a lot of stickers are being used with this bag. We've got the registry number by the shuttle bay's exit, and that one here wasn't particularly pain to apply. It represents the windows of the Arboretum, but that thin sticker had to be applied all along the middle of a large slanted piece. Not the most ideal thing to do correctly. Why, oh why couldn't they just do prints? Stingy bastards. And speaking of stingy, around the other side is the sticker that's causing so much controversy. It's supposed to represent the ship's dedication plaque, but quality control isn't what it used to be, and Lego left a typo. Only the best is good enough, eh?
Yeah, it says Boldigo instead of boldly.
That's so embarrassing. Well, you want to hear what's worse? Lego are offering a replacement sticker with the typo fixed for those who want it. Why is that worse? Because, rather than just fixing the typo, they redid the entire sticker, making it worse as a result. They removed the oval behind the arrowhead symbol and did away with the rivets on each corner. You had one job, Lego.
It's almost as if they don't care.
To be frank, it's pretty embarrassing of them to be sure, but at the end of the day, who cares? I'm pretty shocked to hear you speak like that, Captain. Why not? When the build is finished, that sticker will no longer be visible as there will be no easy way to access it. It'll be hidden. Forever. So, really, who cares? If it was on the display stand with the minifigs, that would be a different story. But it's not.
Why make you apply a sticker you'll never see again?
Why indeed? Now, Bag 19 brings us a new character in the form of Lieutenant Commander Deana.
One of the show's favorite characters.
He sports a golden uniform, of course, and a pale tan-colored face to match his weird android texture. He has two facial expressions, but they're so subtle, it's hard to tell which is which.
You can see it in the eyebrows, Captain. One is quizzical, and the other more stern. I'm not sure I like his hollow eyes. I mean, usually LEGO uses that style to depict blind characters. I'm not sure it works for Data.
Whether it works or not, it's what we have. And Data comes with his cat Spot as an accessory.
I think it would have been better had they used a kitten mold instead, as the standard size cats are just so huge.
Well, you can always swap it if you prefer.
I might just do that.
As for the build, the bag's main purpose was to extend the central section, strengthening it with long tan plates.
The diagonal pieces were quite easy to assemble, even if the instructions weren't 100% clear as to where they should go, but once you connect one end, it becomes obvious what the other end needs to attach to.
The only downside is that they're pretty fragile when you move the build around. Now, I know this will likely be secured in time, but for now, as you turn the model around to add more pieces, other parts can and do easily come apart, and then you have a hell of a time trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. In an unusual move for this particular set, bags 20 and 21 are being combined and used at the same time rather than one after the other.
Sounds like a big section of the saucer is going to be built with them.
Well, the first part of the instructions makes us build a couple of pretty large side pieces out of a myriad of colors.
Which, as always, makes it easy to find the pieces we need to assemble them properly.
And once again, we end up with studs both at the top and on the underside.
The engineering of this model is pretty darn impressive.
Once built, these get attached to the central edge of the main structure.
Looks like we're expanding the oval.
I wonder how big it's going to get.
You'll see very shortly, Gigi. After that, we get round to building 4 very similar, although slightly smaller extensions, which attach diagonally thanks to a couple of hinge plates for each of them.
The mathematics to design this must have been impressive.
What pieces are left after that are used to strengthen the connection of those spindly extensions to the main body. And that's it for those 2 bags.
And with them, you start to get a good idea of just how big the saucer's gonna be.
Now it looks like we just need to fill the gaps between the spindly extensions.
Before we get round to that, Gigi, bag 22 takes us back to the underside and... McClock, you're not going to like this, but it involves stickers.
I've got used to stickers on this model, Captain.
Okay, but how about stickers that must be applied to only part of a tile?
What, like the dreaded Arboretum windows? It's a massive pain, but I can deal.
Right, and what if a design spans 2 tiles, and the 2 stickers need to be applied perfectly to each tile so it looks seamless once done?
What the hell? Ugh, that's it. I'm out of here.
Is he really going?
I'm sure he'll be back for the next bag. Now, I want to spend a little time looking at the plate work. Look at all the angled plates and how they fit perfectly with one another so that there's no gaps.
I have to tell you, I'm impressed.
What a shame McCluck isn't here. He certainly would have appreciated all those angles.
Oh, what's that yellow glow in the center for?
I'm not sure, but as this is where the captain's yacht is supposed to be, could this be a secret play feature?
Bag 23 brings us the man of the hour, the top dog of the ship, the captain himself, Jean-Luc Picard.
He sports a red uniform and, of course, his famous tea Earl Grey hot. Okay, that is something we should address.
Well, hello, Patrick. What can we do for you?
Well, everybody knows Patrick Stewart is British, so him drinking tea is not an issue. But Jean-Luc Picard, he is supposed to be a Frenchman. We French do not drink that piss water. We drink coffee. What is up with all that tea drinking, I ask you? Coffee is Janeway's signature drink, Patrick, not Picard's.
There's coffee in that nebula.
Yanks are not the only one drinking coffee, you know.
Well, Picard got seriously Britishized when Stewart took on the role. I mean, he certainly doesn't sound like you now, does he?
That is correct. He does not sound as sexy as I. Accents and beverages aside, there's something missing from this figure.
Welcome back, McCluck.
You're talking about the bald piece, right?
Damn right I am. Picard in the series had a crown of greyish-white hair, and such a piece certainly exists in LEGO's inventory, so why not include it? If piece count was an issue, I know a couple of 1x1 tiles that could have been swapped for a 1x2 to keep the number the same, you know.
I agree, its omission is a puzzle. But this being LEGO, there's nothing stopping us from adding it ourselves.
Ah, good man.
Well, doesn't it make him look a little too old, though?
You're right, Gigi, it does. But I have a solution. That piece actually appeared for a single character in dark grey. You're right, it was Alfred from the Lego Batman movie. Alfred appeared in 4 different sets between 2017 and 2018, sporting different outfits, but always that grey-haired, balding piece. I can't believe I'd forgotten about that piece. Picard does look much better with it. Excellent find, Mouse. Thank you, Captain. Moving on to the back pieces, just like we filled in the central part of the underside, we're now doing the same for the top side, which is when we say goodbye to the typoed sticker.
And I ask you again, why have a sticker on the inside? And there's not even a way to easily take parts off to see it again. It's forever trapped inside the build. Absurd decision, if you ask me.
We're all in agreement on this, McCluck. So, the parts used to fit in the top are the same as those for the underside, leading to the same satisfying finish.
Looks pretty good.
The bridge is also added, and the stud at the very top must represent the ceiling window we sometimes see from the bridge.
Nice attention to detail.
And brace yourself, McCluck. This registry number is a print.
What? If they could do it for that one, why not for the others?
Lack of care for their customers.
And greed. We've been through this already, McCluck. There's also a little play feature of sorts. You can reveal the hanger by removing the large top tile.
You're stretching the definition of play feature there, bud.
To be honest, I don't really understand the point of it. There's really nothing much to see in there, and it's not even hiding any mechanical feature or anything. It's puzzling, no doubt about it. Okay, let's pop round to the underside for a sec, as it's time to add the captain's yacht.
Which involves the final sticker.
And it attaches to that claw piece, Mouse.
Can it be removed?
Not without removing the tiles around it, no. But I understand they needed an oval piece for it, and the only one available had a clip on its underside, so that's what they used.
Fair enough.
And now's the time to build that little part that's designed to securely attach the saucer section to the StarDrive.
That tiny shuttle on a stick? Ooh, can we try it now?
Let's give it a go. So, here's the StarDrive section. And remarkably, the saucer section stays in place pretty much like that without even having to use that key to lock it into place.
Let's connect it anyway, shall we?
Of course, that's what we're here for. Seamless, amazing engineering. So, having completed the saucer's main central section, it's finally time to fill in the gaps.
Well, it's about time the saucer section stopped looking like a spider.
I know, right? I've been meaning to say that, but I didn't want to trigger any arachnophobes in the audience.
The way this is done is pretty clever. You create a section, which is essentially a large hinge, which you then connect to those yellow and dark grey clips. And it's done.
Not only does it fit in that space quite well, but it also creates that slanted look the original has, with the saucer's center being raised higher than its outer edges.
Clever.
Back 25 gives us the same clever large custom hinges to keep fitting in the saucer's edge.
Considering the rate at which we're going, I bet it'll take a couple more bags to finish the entire fitting in project.
I have to admit, the novelty of creating those hinge plates, and they are novel indeed, don't get me wrong, but the whole process sure does get repetitive very fast, not to mention a little tiring. I guess that was inevitable considering that specific part of the construction, but on the plus side, the build up to now has been pretty interesting and entertaining, with not a dull or tedious moment.
Until now.
Yeah, until now. But in order to break the monotony of this current process, Back 25 also gives us Deana Troy, a pre-Jellicoe Deana before she wore a proper uniform.
Oh, she looks so good in her uniform. Makes you wonder why she wasn't given one sooner.
She's represented here in a purple jumpsuit she often wore.
She has amazing hair.
A bit too big, if you ask me, but that's hardly regulation.
Deana had a lot of hair, McCluck.
Isn't that Izzy's hairpiece from the Dreams theme?
I do believe it is, Gigi. Only recolored to black. She also has two facial expressions, a neutral one And a really happy one.
That's when she spies a chocolate cake.
And she also holds a pad made of a printed 1x2 tile.
The precursor of digital tablets.
It's a cool print with what looks like an analysis of a 1x1 brick.
Could it actually be a Borg cube?
Foreshadowing of a forthcoming set, maybe?
Your guess is as good as mine, guys. Now, with the 4-section complete thanks to bags 24 and 25, it's time to work on the aft.
We found the building process of those big hinges was very similar to the others we've already built, so we're not going to be spending too much time on them now.
So, with that in mind, here's what the saucer looks after bag 26 and after bag 27.
Looking good, Cap.
From the top side, absolutely. But despite the fact these large custom hinges supposedly work to cover both sides of the saucer, turn the bottle over and it's a whole different story.
Great iridescent egg, we still have a bunch more work to do.
Yes, McClog, we've got a bit of a ways to go.
Well, that's why we have 3 more bags to get through.
But first, bag 28 unveils our 8th character, Security Officer Lieutenant Worf. Der beste Sicherheitsbeamte. Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Well, as long as he wasn't too grumpy.
Kriegsgaming tight. Führt zum Sieg.
Kapla!
The uniform is a variant of the gold one as it's adorned with his sash.
Also known as a baldric, it was a symbol of his Klingon heritage and represented his lineage.
Worf, son of Mog, House of Martok, son of Sergei, House of Rozhenko, Bane of the Duras family, Slayer of Garon.
Many of those accolades happened after TNG finished its run, Gigi.
Yeah! Spoilers? Much?
Oops.
Circling back to the minifig, being Klingon, Worf had his species' distinctive head ridges, represented here by a specially molded piece.
Funny how the Klingons were initially represented as humans with dark makeup, but when the first motion picture came out and suddenly those forehead ridges appeared, no one batted an eyelid.
We do not discuss it with outsiders.
Yeah, I get that, Worf.
The point I was trying to make, McClog, was Lego made a special mold for his forehead, but decided to use a couple of regular pieces for his phaser, and I have to say, I am not impressed.
Yeah, despite their apparent pacifistic tendencies, not wanting to portray or celebrate war and such.
A noble sentiment.
Totally. And yet, LEGO have created a bunch of custom molds for so many weapons over the years. So why couldn't they just make a molded piece for Star Trek's phaser?
They did print that cheese wedge.
Yes, Gigi, they did print it. Wow, I'm so impressed.
If it's any consolation, the set includes duplicates of those 2 parts, so you could assemble a second brick-built phaser and hand it over to any one of the other characters.
It's not really a consolation, Captain, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Issues with that phaser aside, Worf also comes with a couple of expressions. One which I must confess, if you look at it without the head ridges, would make the figure look more like Benjamin Sisko than anyone else.
True, and I'd love it if they released a Defiant with Sisko in command.
Who knows what the future will bring?
Let's focus on the present, guys, and this build, which, unlike a LEGO Defiant, most certainly exists. So on top of that human expression, his other one is his more gnarly self.
Which is perfectly fitting. A snarl worthy of a Klingon warrior.
As for Back 28's pieces, they focus on filling in the outer edge of the saucer's underside, and it does that with a bunch of large tiles and wedge pieces. Their build is more complex than they look, with 2 parts being held together thanks to a single hinged piece.
Not very secure, that.
The hinge is held to the other parts thanks to 2 10 2x3 plates, which I only used one of here to show the design.
And once you've connected it to the saucer section, it's even sturdier. And guess what? Just like bags 24, 25, 26, and 27 were pretty much the same constructs over and over again, bags 28 and 29 are used to create the same types of build to fill in that saucer section's underside.
I disagree, McClug. Yes, the little builds are very similar, but unlike the hinge pieces we built over the course of those 4 bags, here we did get some variety which kept the build interesting, like around the aft section thanks to those orange-red thrusters.
Okay, I'll grant you that minor difference. But Bag 29 was used to create 4 other sections, with half of them being the exact copies of the other 2.
Yeah, I can't deny it, it was repetitive. Not as repetitive as the last set of bags, but repetitive nonetheless.
Disappointing way to finish a build.
But it still offered some original ways of doing things, like I really liked how hinges are used to secure wedge plates together, and how those 1x1x2 bricks are used to provide side connections for future parts. So, there's that.
And on the plus side, it's only 2 small bags, which kept the monotony to a minimum.
I quite enjoyed the fact the top side and the underside were built differently. I mean, yes, it was repetitive, but it was still interesting.
And with Bag 29 done, I'm afraid the saucer looks more like an octagonal than it does an oval.
Hopefully, that's what the last bag is here to fix. And before we apply the saucer's final touches, Bag 30 introduces us to our 9th and final character, Guinan.
The mysterious bartender with her mysterious connection to Captain Picard.
Whoopi Goldberg actually begged Gene Roddenberry for a part on the show, and this enigmatic character was the result.
An enigmatic character with many, many hats.
Her hat-hair combo here is yet another new mold. And you're telling me there was no budget for a proper phaser?
Still on that, McClock.
I feel it's still worth moaning about.
And she comes with a bottle of green liquid.
This was actually an unexpectedly long-running joke in the Star Trek universe. All the way back in the original series, in the episode named By Any Other Name, which aired in 1968, Scotty attempted to get the upper hand over one of his captors by drinking him under the table, and, running out of beverages, he found this one.
What is it? Well, it's green.
Then, in the Next Generation episode Relics, which aired 24 years later, Scotty, again, is in 10 forward, and Data offers him a proper alcoholic drink, but he's having trouble identifying it.
What is it?
It is... It is green.
But it's not like this green beverage is a mystery, as Picard himself revealed its name a little later on in that episode.
Aldebaran whiskey. Who do you think gave it to Guinan?
And here it is. Aldebaran whiskey, immortalized in plastic 33 years later.
Guinan also sports 2 facial expressions, giving us a smiling Guinan and one with an open smile. So, with the last figure added to the crew, it's time to finish our build. And for that, we've got a bunch of curved pieces in 2 sizes with prints on their sides.
Lucky they're prints. Imagine having to apply stickers to all those edges.
And once again, if they could do prints for those, why not for the others? It's a rhetorical question, Guy. I know why, and it still sucks.
And those curved pieces, coupled with a handful of plates and bricks, are added to the edges to turn an octagonal into an oval.
The end result really is good looking.
The top side looks very sleek, and those long tubes are used to replicate the Enterprise's phaser array.
Yeah, about that. It's a nice touch, don't get me wrong, but flip this also over and, where's its phaser array? There was one on both sides, you know. Why make the effort to put one on the dorsal surface, but not on the ventral one?
Is it, mockable? We might have to look into that. In the meantime, if you look at it from its edge, it looks pretty darn good.
I can see 10 forward from here.
But we're obviously not done just yet.
That's right. It's finally time to connect the properly finished saucer to the StarDrive section.
So here's the StarDrive section.
Looking as lovely as ever.
And the completed saucer section slots in quite easily.
Always impressed it can just fit there without any additional connection, especially now that it's complete and therefore much heavier.
The shuttle key is there for added security, but you're right, McClock. It's so well designed, it doesn't actually need to be secured with it. The 9 characters are all on the display stand. And there's one more thing. Just like the Star Wars models, the Enterprise comes with a basic specs sheet in the form of a printed display piece. It's on a hinge and can be put anywhere, really.
Bit weird, mind, that there's actually no room on the ship's stand to secure either the minifigs nor the specs piece.
I think it's mostly because these could be seen as optional extras and you can easily display the ship without them.
A couple of connecting studs here and there wouldn't have gone amiss, mind.
I'm sure that's something that can be easily altered if needed. But there we are. A very detailed model of the Star Trek The Next Generation's USS Enterprise NCC 1701D. I wondered how LEGO would recreate a ship with so many curves, and the designers made full use of many original and advanced techniques to bring it to life. The shape is very similar to the original model, and it actually looks great from any angle.
Okay, it looks good, but why all the 10 parts? I mean, I know the Enterprise D didn't have a uniform color, but Look at the show, the movie, and even the various books and technical manuals. She didn't have such big splotches of tan color. It's almost acceptable on the underside, although that could be improved too. But it's so much worse for the upper side.
You're right. It had some spots of tan color, but certainly not that many, I agree. So, tell you what. I think the biggest offenders are those tan wedge plates. So, how about we replace them, along with a few others, with light bluish-grey pieces? You can easily find the necessary parts as they're very common in grey in the secondary market. Now, does she look better to you?
Come on, you've got to agree she does look so much better like that. Still has a sprinkle of tan here and there, but it's not overwhelming. This is the flagship of the Federation, not some mishmash Millennium Falcon fixed up with scrap metal over the years, you know. But what about the lack of windows and life buoys?
That I'm somewhat less concerned about, as from a distance, the exposed studs do a pretty good job of serving as either.
Okay, I can accept that. But having done those alterations to the saucer section, it really shows up the StarDrive section and makes it look kinda grubby now.
This is mostly due to 1x1 and 2x2 slope pieces, which are an easy fix. As for the handful of other large tan parts that were added all the way back at the start, before the two halves of the StarDrive section were even connected, well, I'm not sure I'm ready to take the ship apart to that extent to replace them.
Graying up those slope tan parts already improves the model, Captain. But there's one section that still really bugs me.
Which one is that, Mouse?
It's the rear of the nacelles, where those 1x2 tan tiles are. If you look at those images of the Enterprise, not only are there no tan areas there, there's actually a groove instead, something that would be easy to replicate with a 1x2 grill piece.
Making that change isn't difficult. Although it does expose the various colored parts underneath.
Which actually brings back the suspicious use of multiple parts where a single one would do. This is the perfect example. Look, we've got a 1x4 plate in dark orange, which is the one causing the color problem, next to a couple of light gray 1x3 plates. Those three parts could have been replaced by a 1x10 plate easy, reducing the piece count by 4.
I understand your irritation, McClock, and you're right. 3 1x10 parts in light grey are used elsewhere in the model, so it wouldn't have been hard to swap those 6 pieces for a couple of extra 1x10s.
Well, that pretty much confirms the too many pieces conspiracy as far as I'm concerned.
But since we're making changes, let's use a part that hasn't actually been used in this model. 1x10 plates in black, so that nothing shows through when we add the grill pieces on top. It looks much better like that for sure.
Hang on. Oh. Just look at it now. Weren't those stickers actually meant to be doing the job of that 1x2 grill we just added?
Oh yeah, and now it doesn't make any sense to have done that.
They're kinda too far apart though.
They are too far apart, but McClock's right. I can't believe we didn't realize that until now. Okay, well, let's just remove those grill pieces then, and replace them with plain 1x2 tiles.
To think we could have been spared having to use 4 stickers had LEGO just used a couple of 1x2 grilled pieces instead.
Although, had they done that, you wouldn't have confirmed the too many parts conspiracy, McClock.
There is that.
In any case, I feel those minor alterations have improved the model no end. And let's not forget that we also swapped the large cat piece for a smaller, more accurate scale-wise cat.
And that we added a crown of grey hair to Picard, using an existing, albeit rare piece.
Yeah, he's no Professor Xavier.
So, aside from trying to add a phaser array on the underside, which we'll explore if it can be done at a later date.
Which would undoubtedly be trickier than just swapping over a handful of plates.
So that just leaves us with one problem.
Which one's that?
That model is so huge, how will we display it?
I'm sure we'll find somewhere suitable. So, there we are. It's been a long road getting from there to here.
Wrong show, Captain.
Don't you think it's fitting nonetheless, McClock? We've waited a long time for LEGO to produce an official Star Trek set. So, in conclusion, this model is a marvel of LEGO engineering.
The fact the large saucer section is fully supported by the StarDrive's neck and doesn't really need its little shuttle key is highly impressive.
Think of that shuttle key as a belt and braces approach.
On top of that, round shapes are a bugger to do with little plastic bricks, and since the Enterprise is really nothing but curves, replicating it in Lego was a heck of an achievement. And finally, the design manages to keep anti-studs to an absolute minimum.
Plus, it's definitely an enjoyable build.
Until you have to fill in the saucer section, and then it gets repetitive and borderline tedious. On top of that, this is supposed to be a premium product with a hefty price tag, and yet, not all decorations are printed. Greed isn't a nice look for any company, and certainly not when LEGO's competition offer all printed models at a much lower cost.
Not only that, but they couldn't even get an important sticker right.
A typoed sticker that no one will ever see once the model's built. That's like a double facepalm moment. And they also confused Captain Picard with Professor Xavier by making him bold when their inventory had the perfect piece they could have used instead, yet chose not to. And let's not forget all the proliferation of small parts when larger ones are available, unnecessarily swelling up the piece count. Not to mention the missing ventral phaser array and all those unsightly tan parts which have no place on a Federation starship.
Thankfully, this being Lego, most of those were easy to swap for standard grey ones.
So yeah, it has flaws, plus it's an expensive set, which will definitely restrict its reach. But I feel those who can afford it will enjoy it greatly, as we have.
Hopefully, they'll produce more affordable sets further down the line.
Optimistic as ever, GG?
A giraffe can dream, McClock.
But tell me, what do you think of LEGO's USS Enterprise? Does it do the original justice? Do you like the small alterations we've made? Is there anything else you didn't like and are thinking of changing yourself? Whatever your thoughts, do let us know, and if you like what we do, and how we do it,
And you feel you'd like to help us out,
Please consider joining our Patreon. We will leave a link to it in the description below.
thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you again next time.
Her hat hair combo. Where am I? Her hat hair combo here is yet another new mold. Her hat hair combo here